Craig, a first league win under your management. How did you find the performance?
Good. I thought it took us about 15-20 minutes to sort of get into the game and understand their little patterns and their movement of the midfield and stuff like that. But I think as soon as we started to understand that, I thought we done really well. We started to control the game, we started to get on the ball, we started to create chances, and then a moment of magic from Devin Matthews obviously always helps. So, but no, it was a terrific team performance. I thought in all we deserved it. The lads have been class again for me this week. But as I said to them in the dressing room, myself, Mark and Jack can give them as much information as possible, but only they can do it for us. And it was fantastic again. Each man to their own was just better than the individual they were up against, and which was a pleasure to be with.
Well, like you said rightfully there, in the first 15-20 minutes or so, there was quite a bit of back and forth in that first half, either side having a strong 5-minute spell over the other before Devon's magic. Were you expecting that to and fro nature of the game in the early stages, or did that speak to the quality of both sides before a ball was kicked?
I think it speaks to the quality of both, actually. I think we've watched clips on Boston and they're a great, fantastic team. They play some great football and they have some fantastic players as well. But we knew what they were we knew what they were about, we knew what they were going to try to do, and we tried to implement their own style as well. So I think it was a little bit of, when they had the ball we set off a little bit, and when we had the ball they set off, and it was all about who could break the other team down. And thankfully that's where the bit of magic. Obviously we can work on things and training all week if we wanted it, but you can't compensate for things like what Devon's done today. That's one of them things that he's took ownership. He's driven forward and had a fantastic strike, and he deserves it because he's been immense since I've taken over. His attitude for a young lad, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
I think we could even date even further back to that Devin Matthews. Since he's come into the club, he's been absolutely instrumental.
He's been fantastic from where he's come from, the step up, the levels he stepped up, and I think he can only go further again. He has a good head on his shoulder, and the main thing is he's a nice lad as well. He's got a great attitude. He's a nice human being, and that's what we want around this club.
The goals then started to come, and it looked relatively easy in that 10-20 minute spell across both halves when the goals started to flurry in. Did you feel that confidence and energy as the goals started to come, as the crowd started to get behind you as well? Yeah,
well, we've done our homework on them, as I said, and we knew that when a team does get on top of them, they sometimes start to get a bit shy and start to drop off, and they start to sort of go into the shell a little bit. So we knew if we got a foothold in the game and we put our own little bit of spin on it, we knew that they might crumble a little bit, which I think they did a little bit. I think obviously from Devon's goal, a bit of a shock for them, and then obviously to score a quick goal after that with Alex's corner, a great header, great ball in by Steph. So it's what we've worked on, is to, as soon as we see another team starting to struggle or starting to be a bit more weird, I was like Chorley, we go at them, and that's when we try to kill them off in a sense. But no, it was brilliant. The lads done everything to a T, but as I said, we can do as much homework on it as we like. Only they can put on for us.
Speaking of Steph as well, he got the start today over Jamie Allen. Was that more just as a reward for his performances that he's gone forward coming off the bench, or?
Yeah, and his attitude, everything. He's last, I think he come on against Warrington, scored a fantastic header. Come on against Brackley and done really well. Come on last week and scored another fantastic goal and put in a great performance. So he deserved that. He's deserved that through pure determination and working hard and his efforts on and off the pitch. But if you look at, we've got some people like Jamie Allen and Miles Story on the bench. It's fantastic to have them options. Them two are without a doubt one of the top players in the league, and they get into most teams. So to have them as a bench shows you how well Isaac and Stefan have been doing. But we want Miles and Jamie to push them, to make them better players. Because I spoke to Jamie the other day, and he wants to come on and make impacts now, like Stefan's been doing, and earn his right to get back into the team. And that's what we want. We want everybody pushing in the right direction and influencing each other in a positive way.
Missed out on the clean sheet today as well, quite late on. The goal from Captain Boswick was conceded. Is there any disappointment amongst the group that you missed out on the sheet so late on, or is the focus more on we've got 3 points here today?
Yeah, there is. We've got a good group that we set ourselves standards, and whether it's defensively, whether it's goalkeeping, whether it's midfield, we all have a standard, and we like to keep a clean sheet. It's a good standard and a good habit to have, to try to keep a clean sheet. But listen, Cam's saved us numerous of times in that match today, so I think we can forget about that a little bit at the end, because he's been fantastic, Cam. You know what I mean? He's an unbelievable goalkeeper. His distribution, some of his shot stopping today has been second to none. The keepers in the game when we did look a little bit ropey. So listen, everybody has little moments in the game. If I make a mistake, there's usually about 60 yards behind me for them to try score. If Cam makes a small mistake, it's a goal. You know what I mean? You don't get that much leeway when you're a goalkeeper, but he's done more good than bad over this year. So I think Cam will be fine with that, and he'll go again next week and he'll be fine.
Towards the back end of the game as well, George Waring was brought off, went down with injury just beforehand as well. Is there any early indication?
I think it's because we have a match Tuesday. I think he was trying to pull one over on us, but no, he's George he just felt a little twinge. He didn't know if it was cramp or he didn't know if he felt a twinge. So it was just a sort of let's not risk it. You know what I mean? There's 5 minutes left. Let's get him off, sort him out, and he should be fine. Well, he'll rest up this week, make sure he does the right things, and back again for Tamworth next week.
And next week does spell 2 big cup games. First up on the docket is the Frank Hanna Manchester FA Cup. Will we be expecting any heavy rotation ahead of Saturday's clash with Tamworth in the 4th qualifying, or is this a competition that you actually want to have a bit of a go at?
We haven't got the squad to rotate as heavy as we'd like because the lads have been brilliant. But no, I've spoken to and a lot of the players today just to see how they feel about the game on Tuesday, and 90% of them want to play. So I'm happy with that. If that's how they feel, obviously we want to look after them, make sure they're doing the right things, but if they feel like they want to play and they feel like they can get something from the game, well, it's another cup that we want to win, it's another game we want to win, so we'll go out and put a strong team out, and then hopefully that'll give us a bit more confidence going into next Saturday.
Perfect, Manny, thank you for your time.
Always a pleasure, mate, thank you.
Thank you, us.